Hello and welcome back, and we're down at the Bushcraft shelter, and I'm going to have a bushcraft afternoon and spend just a few hours down here enjoying myself. It's been possibly 2 months since I've been here at this location, and the shelter is still here. It's intact, and indeed it's thriving. It's got its own little biome going on, and I'll let you have a look in a moment, but I do need to get a tarp up and get some shelter from the rain. We do have yet again another storm and impending rain belt coming in off the Atlantic. And when it does come in, it's really like kind of like down sideways, you know, really hammering down. And if I get too wet, I have brought waterproofs, but if I get too wet from this being a perfect nice few hours enjoying the woodlands, doing a bit of bushcrafty things, I could find myself soaking wet and regretting not taking precautions. And that precaution is getting a tarp up so I can get underneath it when it rains. So I'm going to make this happen. Right guys, I'll give you a quick walk around. You've quite evidently seen I've got the tarp up, I've got a brew on the go. I'm going to have a nice cup of coffee, sit down and chill. The filming conditions are quite diabolical actually, because the light is actually fading because it's late afternoon. The rain clouds are making it seem darker than it actually is. But I'm pleased. I've got a nice dry place to scamper into when it rains, and I can hear it pitter pattering on the outside of the tarp already. Not enough for me to get in, but I'm glad I've done that. But I'll let you have a look at the shelter. And when I came down here 2 months ago and done a little bit of a review on it, I said it looked like it was flourishing, but it's actually alive in its own right. This shelter is a living entity. Now, as you can see, a lot of this moss is doing better than when I picked it. It's actually lovely, lush and green, and it feels a little bit spongy and damp, but it's obviously the right conditions for it to live. But if I bring it down here, I've actually got grass growing out of it. I've seen multiple insects, but yeah, I've got grass growing on top of it. The moss is doing absolutely fantastic, and I've got ivy flourishing on it as well now. This whole little shelter is turned into its own little biome, and it's full of life. Look, got new fresh little ivy leaves coming through, and everywhere you look there's grass beginning to pop out. Up here I got grass there. Quite fascinating. Let's get a torch and have a look inside of it. Couldn't do that last time. Get their chair out of the way. Obviously being under a tarp makes it. Right, as you can see, there's no daylight coming through. It is watertight. I've done 2 overnighters in here, and it's just enough for me to actually stretch out fully and still be protected. We've orientated it into the wind, so all the wind is hitting that back apex there, and the rain, and this open section obviously doesn't get it. But yeah, still holding together really well. I want to come down and do another overnighter. Looks like something's been digging through my wood that I cut there. But yeah, this floor in here is completely dry compared to where I am out here doing my coffee. Well pleased with this shelter, and I want to use it just a little bit more before I make my new one in the summer holidays. So I traditionally use tarps, and it's no different here. I've got a tarp up, as I said I was going to. I've got a big long ridge line all the way back to the shelter, just to give it some support and break the back of the tarp, so I could fold it in multiple ways. And all I've done is just got some bungees and staked it out on the corners to some trees, the shelter itself, and it's staked down on the far corner down there, just to give me that extra slope to get rid of any rainwater. But as you can see, I'm not getting wet. I'm going to stay dry underneath that. Well, as you've seen, I've got my coffee, and it's nice. Coffee in the woods. That is a bit of a traditional saying, but there is nothing like it, coffee in the woods. I can just hear the pitter patter of rain on the tarp. But I'm going to do a very quick talk and demonstration of the term, or the term that's used for, or the term that people will say, choking an axe or choking a hatchet, and what it means and why you'd do it, and a very quick demonstration. I'm not going to go too far into it, because I'm sure if you really wanted a better explanation, there's plenty out there, but I'll give you the rough starting points of what it means and what it's used for. And the same for that term can be used for a lot of bushcrafting knife activities as well, but we'll go into that in a minute. I actually want to finish this. I'm really enjoying this. I did actually consider waiting till Friday, and I would preferred it to have been a Friday afternoon, but I got my deliveries done, and I kind of realised that if I held off, knowing my luck, and my luck isn't rolling my way at the minute, if I'd waited, it would be, the weather would be too horrendous to come out. So I suppose the moral to that story is get out while you can. And there you go, boys and girls, that's why you get your tarp up. You do not want to get caught out and getting wet. Get that tarp up the first thing you do, or your shelter, when you get in the woods. Right, I got a few bits of wood there to demonstrate. But first things first, just put a little bit of a better edge on my blades. Get my gloves. I should have done this before coming out and prepping and got myself totally ready. Obviously this is my sharpening stone. It's got 2 grits. A fine grit is the smallest one, and obviously the heaviest darker band you see on it, that's the more aggressive. But I'm not going to demonstrate. I think I've already done a video on sharpening, but I keep it in a plastic bag because I don't just use water, I use oil on it. So right, see if I can get a good angle on this. The rain is actually lubricating the stone. And here's my Bushcraft knife. This is the one I made from a horseshoe blade. Yeah, got a little ding in the actual blade where I've used it to cut some wire. As you can see, I treat it pretty poorly. Right, the term choking an axe or a hatchet quite simply means that you're gaining a better degree of control over it when you want to use that item to do more delicate work. Should I want to carve this piece here down here, say the spine of this piece of wood, having my axe and trying to do it like this is going to make things extremely hard going and possibly dangerous. So what you want to do is gain more control over your actual item that you're using. So choking the actual hatchet or axe would be quite simply to get your hand right up into the well, the head here, not near the blade itself, right up like that, and getting a firm grip so that you can do more delicate tasks, such as this, like what I'm doing here. Like if you wanted to do a feather stick, or, and as you can see, I'm taking these shavings off, and I've got a better degree of control over the actual hatchet. If I was doing it like this, as you can see, it's not only would it be dangerous because you'd be putting unnecessary pressure on your body, but you don't have control and it could fly off everywhere like that. So choking an axe or a hatchet is simply getting it up like this, and so you can actually gain more control when you want to do things like this. And you get a lot more control, and you can do a feather stick even with a hatchet. The same is true with a knife. This is obviously, I know everybody's going to say this isn't a proper bushcraft knife, but to me it is, because I made it myself out of a horseshoe blade. This is my bushcraft knife. So yet again, I don't want to be using the very outer part of a knife to try and do a feather stick. It is quite hard. You could possibly do it, and there's probably some knives and some people that could, but even though it's not used or the saying choking a knife, I've never really heard that. but you can apply that same method that we did to the axe and hatchet by using the closest part of the blade here to gain control for finer operations, like doing feather sticks or cutting notches in wood. Trying to cut all the way out on the tip of the blade really is quite hard and possibly dangerous because you could slip. I've got my wood locked in here, and I'm just going to use this bit here, and you can see I can actually gain a lot more emphasis, and it's controlled, and I can go down through this piece of wood like this. And I can apply more pressure safely and with a greater degree of control by doing it on the inside part of the blade. So I hope that explains roughly what the terminology of choking an axe or a hatchet is, and it can actually be applied to a knife in certain circumstances. Well, that wind and rain has really picked up, and it looks like we're set for this a bit earlier than the weather forecast stated. But in any case, I've really enjoyed coming down this afternoon and just enjoying being out in the woods, and yeah, just feeling a little bit of what nature can do to you, and it makes you feel good. But I've got another cup of coffee on the go, as you can see there, and I'm just going to drink that slowly, watch possibly another half hour, 40 minutes of the day drift by, and then I'm going to pack up and head out of here and head home, and it'll be tea time by then, I would guess. So yeah, this has been very, very well needed, and it's good to come back down to this shelter. Like I said, it's been 2 months since I've been down here, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to building the next one. And like I said, I want to make it a little bit bigger, but that's a whole new story and a whole new game and a whole new video. But yeah, it's been good to come down and utilize this one, but I do have another overnighter planned for this one as well. I want to use it as much as I can before the summer. Well then people, that was absolutely fantastic, well needed. I needed it in here, and I've come down and I had a wonderful couple hours down here in the woods, just really kind of chilling out, just letting the world go by and watching this weather change. It's changed in front of my very own eyes here, and it's only set to get worse, but it was still absolutely glorious being down here. And yeah, I've got to now walk away from the shelter, leave it here by itself, and hopefully it'll still be here when I next come back. I want to do an overnighter, and we will make that happen at some point. But I'd like it to get a little bit warmer before I come down and do that one, and just utilise this one a little bit more than I have done. I've had a couple overnighters, used it during the day a few times, but yeah, just get my money's worth, as you would say, from constructing it before I build the next one. But all that's left to be said is take care, stay safe, and hope to catch you guys out on the trail.